From Brooklyn, New York comes MC and performing artist MIC HANDZ. Known for his gritty, boom bap driven sound, and his association with the Boot Camp Clik and the Def Squad, and consistent output, MIC HANDZ has built a deep catalog that includes Golden Era Timeless, The Evidence, Hell on My Back, Heaven in My Wake, and the Alive EP. In addition to his solo work, he's collaborated with hip hop heavyweights such as the late great Sean Price, Rockin' This Monster, Big Daddy Kane, Sadat X, Sky Zoo, Napoleon the Legend, Craig G, and many more. With multiple new projects on the horizon, his music continues to reflect raw street narratives, authenticity, and a deep commitment to the essence of hip hop culture. Tune in to learn about his journey in music, his deep catalog, and what he's got coming next on the Cristopolis Show number 275. Brooklyn, New York comes MC and performing artist MIC HANDZ. He has a deep discography and is known for his boom bap and hard lyrics. He's also known for his association with the boom bap Boot Camp Clik and also with the Def Squad. We're going to bring him in and talk to him about his impressive career and what he's got coming next. Let's bring him in. Peace, peace, peace.
What up, family?
I'm good, my brother. What an honor to have you on the Cristopolis Show, episode 275 on May the 4th be with you. What a good day.
275. I'll take it. 100%. Good word, man. Good.
Thank you, my brother. It's an honor to have you on. My bro, I'm going to just ask you out the gate, I think the question that people want to know. Your discography is so impressive. Your skill set is so impressive.
Oh, man.
But the question is, when is the next project dropping? Because we know you got him in the tuck, right? We know you got him in the tuck. It's 2026 the year. Talk to us. Whatever you can
So
share.
I haven't mentioned anything on that because I did take a bit of a break. Life was happening. People that follow my journey know that this year will be 6 years ago. I had a kidney transplant. So because of that, I really was working the whole way, and it wasn't until afterwards that I took inventory and realized maybe I should take a break and regroup. But truth be told, I have a project called Parabellum that I've just started wrapping up. I'm going to be working down in Atlanta. Salute Mud Knock down there at that studio. I'm going to be mixing and mastering the project in Atlanta.
Wow.
The first time that I'm traveling to go work on tying up a project. But I feel like the feeling I got last week out there in that space, the sound I got, I felt like this is where I want to mix this project at. So I'm going to shoot down for 3 different sessions, 3 different weeks. I'm going to lock in 16 hours a weekend to just get the project tied down.
Yeah.
I'll be ready to go. Then I'll have a release date. But yeah, Parabellum is the name of the next project. And the subtext is there is no peace without war. And the concept of the title is I fought so hard and warred with myself so much to come back and do a project that, and it was because it was identified by my family that my peace is in my music and my creating. So though I was doing so many other things, my children, my grandchildren, my family, my home life, the missus, those things I was taking care of in my absence, but there still was this level of depression, this level of disconnect, and this level of anxiety that was lingering that gets kept at bay by me creating. So the war, though it sounds cool, was really an inner war to get back to my peace, which was creating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for announcing it. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
And
got it?
yeah, the beautiful insights, so much depth. People that have followed your journey know the strength that you have. I mean, you're a big, strong dude. You know what I'm saying? On the mic with killers, dropping, dropping gems, and then to go through something that forces you to be vulnerable, to look at our mortality. We've lost some legends along the way. You're really close to people that have passed, and all of this stuff. Here you are coming back with, a project, kind of in a sense, a different person. Like so much life that you've gone through.
In certain ways, I didn't look at it quite that way, but now that you've put it that way, yes.
Yeah.
there's been some transformative things, I must admit. Like, the beauty is the pressure's gone.
Wow.
I used to feel like I had to because this was going to be my way. This was going to be my way out. This was going to be the answer. This is how I was going to change everything. It all balanced on creating this music,
Yeah.
to the point now it's honestly far more. I've moved into a different career space during the day. I'm in the mental health and recovery space,
Okay.
substance use and misuse. I do that during the day. So I utilize my marketing background as well.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's allowing me to approach the music at peace. Like, there's no pressure, there's no anything other just than the will to create, and the will to do well, and the will to enjoy. And that's important. I didn't realize how much that was going to impact. The,
Yeah.
and I'm doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it because I feel like I have to, or because
Yeah.
there's a noose or a timeline.
That's good. That's good. What does parabellum mean? I've heard the word before, but I don't know what it means.
So literally, and it's a Latin term that means, if you want peace, prepare for war. So when they use it in John Wick, and which is honestly some of the theming behind the project, this loner that has packed up his weapon, which was the music, and packed that up because I had to focus on health and recovery and that journey and then life and things. Then when I got into this mental health space, I dove all the way in and started to fall in love with that work and facilitating and keynoting and writing workshops and running program, and the things that I was learning to do and really feeling proud of that reinvention. It's kind of the same thing that happened. I'm also a veteran clothing designer. I was a menswear designer for 20 plus years.
Yeah, you
And
got a whole fashion career that
yeah,
if you dig enough, you find
yeah,
some videos and all of that stuff.
that's a fact. But when I got into that, it was I also abandoned music in that era too, to
Wow.
focus. When I'm in, I'm all in. And I ended up, Sean John, Cross Color Calcanine, all of the vibes, Pepsi, the different brands I worked for. I was so the designer guy that rapped, not the rapper that designs, right? And then when I got
Yeah.
into the health space, I became this mental health guy and peer support specialist that also rapped. And I had to realign that, right?
Yeah.
And my CEO, salute her, she was like, no, you have to do your music. You can't not do that, because she identified how much of my wellness that was a part of. And here I am, right? So there's no peace without war, and music and creativity and culture is my peace. So I had to get it back in order.
That's dope. That's really dope. You mentioned as a person who works in this space and as somebody who doesn't really know about it, but I think people are curious because the I guess the shame maybe around mental health is kind of going away, right? Men especially, right? Are starting to talk about it and be like, like I'm lonely, or like, I want to cry, and there's tools and perspectives that people are becoming familiar with it. Also, the phone helps. There's apps and things that it's becoming a more familiar. You mentioned substance abuse, and then also mental health. Are they kind of like? Is there a connection in your field? Do they go hand in hand?
Suicide prevention, gun violence, um, men's mental health, maternal health, all of it is hand in hand, right? So let's
Yeah.
look at it. When you go to the doctor, that's physical health, correct?
Yeah.
And whether you have things going on or your blood work comes back completely clean, it's nothing but the state of your physical health.
Yeah.
So mental health, though it has a negative connotation, when you start talking about mental health, people think the negative, but the truth is it's nothing but the state of your mental well-being,
Good.
right? Be it good or bad. There's times you go to the doctor and the doctor says, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mental health is the same thing. There's times just keep doing what you're doing. But it's just checking in with yourself to make sure that mentally you stay on track. Because if your mental health realities start to veer off, right, and start going into deeper places, darker places, it starts
Yeah.
to show up physical, right?
Wow.
So then
Interesting.
and it's the same thing with substance use. A lot of the times there's voids. A lot of times there's compensation. A lot of times there's coping mechanisms and coping skills. And 9 times out of 10, I'll say 7 times out of 10, drugs fill in the space. Usage, it's a cope of some sort, right? It's an
Yeah.
escape reality. There's a pivot from this and escapism that way,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes just like video games, which we
Hmm.
overlook sometimes, right?
Yeah.
The internet, social,
Hmm.
these are all things that are escapism that distract you from whatever is happening in your real space. And sometimes, like anything else, sex, anything else, they can all become a bit more skewed. Shout out everybody in the comments. I see some of my brothers. Cool Kim is in here from UMC. Salute. Luna Ice is in here. Rocknet Monster just tuned in. Brandon Franks, that's my guy. Boda Jazz in Chile. Yo, salute everybody on the Lefty Nice. Uplift One Above, Nat Burns. He got a new album out. Lamb, check that out. Zazar the Origin. Bibby Rock. Everybody in here, man. Salute.
Salute. Salute. Thank you so much for the explanation on mental health. I think it's really valuable, and I think that there's a real deep connection with specifically hip hop. You know, in general, music, you know, communicates a mood, but the lyrics in hip hop and the socioeconomic reality of many of the artists that I loved growing up. You know, I grew up without a dad in Section 8, you know, in a black and Latino environment where a lot of stuff popped off. And it was through music that I felt tougher, that I felt that I belonged, that I had male role models. I felt cool. I felt strong through the words. I love the swagger, you know, so I think that there's a real connection with, you know, and maybe you could help me. I'm not sure how to communicate it, but there's a real connection between um, something that happens in hip hop through lyrics and you know just being nice on the mic and the way you carry yourself in a sense of greatness
Mm-hmm.
and the chasing of something,
Mm-hmm.
the getting up, right, the rags to riches,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the mental health challenges of anxiety and overwhelm and loneliness and you know feelings of not having you know the traditional family or you know the social network the support network that we all need. Have you, as an MC, you know what I'm saying, that then moved into this space, have you seen some correlation?
So watch this. Ironically, you mentioned that. Rock jumped on, Cool Kim is on. Both of them have paneled with and for me, right? We did some work at NYU. We have a program called Healing Through Hip Hop. The whole concept is showing the parallels between hip hop writing, performance, and mental health, right?
Wow.
So what as I started to train and learn and do my journey of education into the mental health space, there was so much language that correlated directly to what I do in
Yeah.
music, and I didn't realize it, right? So yes, I've been hospitalized, I've done those things in the mental health space on my journey. But when I started recording and writing, I realized that all of my pain goes into my music.
Wow.
That's where I can not internalize, right? And a lot of the problems with mental health concerns, because I don't like saying challenge, that's kind of deficit based. So strength based language would be concerns, right?
Yeah.
I I get to go in front of five, 10,000, 500 people and yell at the top of my lungs my story,
Wow.
right? So I'm not internalizing, I'm sharing it. And then I find community because those people that learn my lyrics or become fans are because they can relate to my music. The
Yeah.
reason Eminem went 10 times diamond is because he found a population of people that could relate to his journey and he
Yeah.
poured his journey into the music,
Yeah.
right? And he got to become the voice for people who were maybe dealing with shame and navigating shame when it
Yeah.
came to sharing their story. But he put the music behind it, the cool factor behind it, and the cachet behind it that made it okay to sing this at the top of my lungs. And if I wasn't ready to share, I can blame it on him.
It's
But I
good.
still off my chest, loud, right? So we talk about those parallels of how it's therapy for every artist that steps on stage that gets to share their story to a room full of people that accept them and not judge them for their tale,
Yeah.
right? And even better, we find a community of people that feel the need to get in the DM, feel the need to stop us after shows, feel the need to ask for autographs. And while we're signing, tell that story of connection. Tell that story of why they tuned in, right? It's funny. Luna Ice is in the comments. Great artist out of Augusta. She has this whole wolf fantasy type of space that she's in, but you can tell it speaks to her personal interests and culture.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, so with the cosplay world that's out right now, there's going to be
It's
so
wild.
many people that tune in, and then she's as talented as anybody in any other space.
Yeah.
So, but you're speaking to people that may get marginalized or shut into a corner that you're now becoming the champion for. You see what I'm saying? This is what this music is about, right? No matter which angles you come from, it speaks to where I find strength. It speaks to how I find voice. It speaks to how I wave my flag. And it
Yeah.
helps me make it okay. And you help validate me, even though it shouldn't come from outside, but it does. At the end of
Right.
the day, think about this from a narcissistic standpoint. Rappers are the most needy people on the planet. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah, for real.
We put our livelihood in the hands of thousands of people who don't know us personally.
It's good.
But no matter how much work we do, how much mixing and mastering, no matter how much tedious writing, no matter how much proofreading we do before we put this music out, if no one gets it, it
Yeah.
didn't work
It's good.
on the business level, right? Meantime, we don't bet the house. We took a loan out on the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But this is the reality, right? Because we need connection.
Yeah.
We need that. So yes, there's a direct correlation between the two.
When you moved into this space, did you know this going in and you're like, okay, this is like a great lane for me because I've gone through some life things, some health things, and I'm an MC? Or did you kind of go in, you liked it, you were looking for work, and then you discover like, whoa, as an MC, I have this ability now to uh communicate hip hop and when I'm talking with lyrics, and this entire demographic of urban youth that love hip hop and are in a way kind of getting some sort of mental health messaging through hip hop lyrics anyways. Like was it the chicken or the egg? Did you already kind of identify it, or when you were already in the field did you connect the dots?
I'll be lying to you if I said yes. So I'm not going to do that. I started rapping in '89, right? That's when I started. First time I ever wrote a rap. Pursued it all this time. There's so much good dialogue in the comments. Make sure you check on that. But I started this journey doing that back then. I was just, honestly, I've been every rapper. I've been a conscious rapper. I've been the street rapper. I've been the storyteller. I've done all of it because I didn't know who was listening. And I just wanted to fit in, like we talked about, right? So I'm writing everything that's working at the time. And as music evolved, I evolved, right? Trying to just write what was working until I became comfortable enough to commit to this is my voice, right?
Yeah.
I also luckily didn't have but so much, I didn't have but so many issues outside of music.
Yeah.
I was because of the freckles, I stood out whether I wanted to or not, right? I did the modeling thing for years. So I wasn't too awkward there, right? I was a
Right.
social kid. Then I found my way into the streets. Still was pretty okay over there socially, right? Outside of what that came with, but it wasn't until the transplant journey. I'm sitting on dialysis, and I meet a young lady who was sitting in the corner. Rest in peace to Shemia Red. I'm sitting in the corner. She's sitting in the corner with a laptop and a bunch of papers on her lap, just typing away. We on dialysis. I think we dying together. Ain't that's what we do when we in here dying, right? Like she just typing and I'm like, what is this woman doing? So a couple of days pass and we end up seated next to each other. So I'm like, what are you over there doing? She said, I'm working. What I can't finish during the day, I'm sitting here for 4 hours, so I work on it here. I'm like, you can work? Like, I was really baffled. You thought I was 12. I'm like, you can work? She was like, yeah. And we got in this huge talk because I'm used to being productive. I'm used to doing. So it was really a struggle for me navigating this feeling of dependency or this feeling of limitation, right? And this was early on in my journey. So she's like, listen, she tells me about the program, tells me about the company. I'm like, it's not a problem what you do. She's like, no, they're very supportive actually of what does I do. And she introduced me to peer support and what that meant. And that her going through what she was going became her superpower because it meant should clients come through that are navigating something similar, we have someone trained who also navigates that lived experience. And I'm like,
Wow.
she's like, I'm hiring if you're interested. I'm like, you serious? I design clothes. I've never done anything like this. She was like, I'll train you. So I got my little resume together, got my little, she said you only need a high school diploma. I'm like, we could do that. And threw on my little suit, went and the now CEO, who was the director at the time, said, why do you want to work here? After looking at my resume,
Right.
I'm like, I just want to prove that I can. I want to prove to myself that I can work, and
Yeah.
I want to get away from me, the business owner and design thing that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Got right, and that was in 2019. Here we are, and that was entry level, right? And here is 2019. Here we are, 2026. I'm an executive officer at the agency. I'm also the chief marketing officer at the agency, and that goes from not even knowing I could work.
Wow.
And then along that journey, the first time I was introduced to, rest in peace, a young lady, Celia Brown, I go to a conference and they're doing this healing through hip hop workshop. And of course, I'm like, who here is qualified to talk about hip hop? Everybody
Right.
asked me, got me by 12 years. What are they talking about? So I'm
Right.
like, I'm gonna go to this conference. If I ain't going to nothing else this conference, I'm going to that workshop. So we go.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because they're coming from this consumer standpoint and this fan standpoint and talking about how hip hop and the music helped them through their crisis,
Right.
connecting with lyrics. So it's from a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, everybody's qualified for that.
Yeah.
So, some things came up. I addressed it and had this conversation and missed having this dialogue. They took interest afterwards. We spoke. The next year, I was on the panel as part of the workshop. The
Wow.
following year, the lead, and then I've been the lead for that workshop for the last 4 years.
So the person giving the workshop initially was just somebody that loved hip hop and saw the connection and was in the space. It
And
wasn't an actual
nope,
hip hop artist with records with Big Daddy Kane, right?
it's
It was
somebody.
just a person.
It's someone who dug their self out the dark, and hip hop was their soundtrack.
Wow.
Who was also the first young lady in the world to be with lived experience, mental health services consumer that was that the Office of Mental Health (OMH) created a job with benefits and a salary to say you are a peer support specialist and you are qualified to have a career using your experience to help others. And now there's over 440,000 peer support workers behind her in the world, including myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? This is so fascinating because I've known about this space because there's an organization I can't remember the name of it, but they
Mm-hmm.
organize shows mostly on the East Coast, right? Where they and it's
Full
related
blast.
around full. That's right.
We've
Yeah.
done we've done it a few times up in Connecticut. It's the Mental Health Board of Connecticut that works with Brian to do that. Yeah, those are great shows.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm blown away by the talent on it's like a show that'll fill out SOBs. You know what I'm saying? It's like a legit like a who's who of hip hop, but it has the mental health awareness, which helps to um the same way that they use hip hop to sell Burger King, right? It's like it removes the stigma and makes it cool. It makes it like you got these superheroes
Mm-hmm.
talking about something that is normally traditionally has had like a bit of a stigma, right? And it helps to remove that. So that's really really dope. This is so fascinating. I wanna we kind of jumped on this because you were sharing with us not only your journey, but that you have an album coming up called
Mm,
Parabellum,
yeah.
and you were talking to us about the meaning of that, and that's how we went into the mental health space, which is
Mhm.
fascinating. Um, I wanted to ask you to kind of bring it back to Parabellum. You mentioned that you're going to be recording it in Atlanta,
Nope.
in
It's
Georgia.
recorded, but it's being mixed and mastered down there.
Okay, so it's recorded here, mixed and mastered there. You were
Hmm.
just in Georgia
I
at the
was.
bars and barbecue.
Beats and bars. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to us about that. Like that's like,
Uh,
I mean, you were there. It's like a who's who of their Jurassic 5 members, Dingo
it was
D.
great, right? So there was just so, and I don't want to not name somebody, but what I will tell you is what I didn't expect is I knew it would be hip hop, right? Like there was literally factions of culture throughout the space, right? So you have like this living graffiti wall getting done in real time. You have this this b-boy battle with like 50 b-boys in real time, right? You have the Iron Chef of hip hop pit with like 4 grills going at one time. You had the Beat Freaks had hosted the producer panel and showcase, which turned into this epic cipher, right? Um,
Oh,
then Cupid Doll, the queen hostess, she had the grill going. Like they built an outdoor kitchen, so she's like she cooked for like 13 hours straight, right? It was crazy.
wow.
Then Cool Kim hosted. It was his home. Um, Mikey Destruction, Mikey D was there just to tap on, like you said, a Kill Jurassic 5, Percy P. Um, the dudes from Shy were there. Like I didn't even know it was gonna be no R. You know, this was crazy. Like so, I sang before I started rapping, and they were one of the songs that we
That
used
was
to.
your song, like the song that you kind of like how you learned to rap. That's how you learned to sing.
Dude, like, what are you doing here? Like, right? So, and I didn't even realize. I felt horrible. I ran into him in the airport. I had to apologize. Like, bro, forgive me. I didn't even realize this is who I was with because it was that kind of thing. It wasn't industry. It was just
Yeah,
culture, right? And connection. So it didn't matter who you were per se. You were
yeah.
who you were that became who you are, if that makes sense. So that's what made it so natural. Next
That's
year,
dope.
next May, I don't even want to misquote the dates, but watch my timeline. I want everybody pulled up. Like I'm trying to go with like a sprinter van or something. As many people as I can get in that yard, I'm bringing.
Yeah. So is it like a thing where it's like they sell tickets and it's meant to be an event like that,
Mm.
or is it kind of more like invite only? It's
Nope.
kind of got
There's
it.
a
Okay, so it's an
website.
event that's being created.
You can book your VIP or whichever package you want. There's a music karaoke and intro night. There's a a boat on the Savannah River to close
Wow,
out.
wow.
It was so much. Like it's like there's no way to really talk about it without bringing it all out. Brandon, I see you. I'm gonna need the Range Rover wheelchair down there, the one that stand up. That yo, listen. So this ain't nothing to do with music. Brandon Franks, that's my little cousin.
Shout out Brandon.
Brandon's been in a wheelchair his whole life, right? But when I tell you this is one of the coolest cats I know, he used to put me on the back of his wheelchair and ride me around the block parties. Like that's the kind of he's just not regular. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Right, right, right.
I got. And even right now, he stayed threatening to be on the highway with it on his way up here. That's the kind of threatening to death.
That's dope.
But yeah,
That's dope.
this is he said he there next year with his Range Rover wheelchair. I believe him too on 42s. Like that's him all day.
That's dope. So was this the first one, the event that took place?
Fourth one, if I'm correct. But
Wow,
I attended.
that's dope. Uh, do you have a connection already to Georgia, or was this kind of you making it from New York to Georgia?
So I would say all the way back to the Freaknik years, but I don't want
See, people don't know about the Freaknik.
to scour any videotapes trying to find nobody, so we ain't gonna say that. But I will say the late 90s is when I started frequenting Georgia. And then at one point in my life, I was working with Mazay Entertainment, which is Deb Antony and Waka's um, team. And I would go back and forth down there for work with
Yeah.
them. So yeah, I have some connection.
That's dope. That's dope. One of the questions I wanted to ask you that I had like in my mind, and then I saw the Bush babies just jump in. So,
Hmm.
we'll ask them while they're hopefully still on. You just shot a video with them, not that, earlier, like maybe like 6 months ago or something like that. A Brooklyn anthem, right? A Flatbush anthem.
Oh,
Talk to us about that, that experience, that your connection with them, the video, the energy in that video is incredible.
all right. So first off, I don't know how to do this the right way. Cortona P, what up? We got a dope joint called Crypto. Check that out. But
Peace, peace, peace.
yeah, salute, Queen. We are Flatbush jumped in, so let's start with that, right? So we are Flatbush. All of us are Flatbush born and raised, right? And if we weren't, we migrated in so young that we might as well have been.
Yeah.
Um, it was a natural progression. Rest in peace, Mars Money. One of the he and it's funny because that record represents chapters in the Flatbush hip hop story, right? So you had Master Ace and Craig G and General Steel and all of these art, Busta Rhymes, Rampage, Lord Have Mercy, Red Fox, Screechy, all of them that came through the Flatbush journey.
Wow.
Let's not rest in peace, Kango Kid, UTFO. All this is all Flatbush work, right?
What a neighborhood.
Right. So that's all Flatbush work. Then coming after that, you had Bush Babies when you talk about on the record, right? So you have Bush Babies, and then you have myself who came after them, and then you have Mars Money who came after me, right?
Wow.
So it was such a layered record for me. When I
Yeah.
my first Cellar Dwellers, I will never leave them out. That's my brothers. Chip, of course. Let's do that. Sick. Fill in the blanks for me. Chip,
Yeah,
I checked
yeah.
yesterday,
Chip food.
but
Chip food.
that's all incredibly Flatbush. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what happens is I'm writing in Two Unorthodox, that's Flatbush too, they were on Arista, but I'm writing my first rhyme in '89, right? On Fort Hamilton Army Base in Brooklyn. And upstairs, my partner's older brother and his partner are writing their rhymes. Very much not their first rhymes. They rapping for real, right?
Yeah.
We down here trying to get it together, and I'm writing my very first ever, and they're upstairs going crazy, right? So I can hear them through the floor, and you're getting inspired through the floor. You don't have no face on the people you're listening to, right? And fast forward, his brother was in a group called Chaos and Mass Confusion, right? Chaos went on to become Lee Majors of Chaos from the Bush Babies, right? So
Wow.
our tie goes back to me being 13, 12 years old, right?
Wow.
And fast forward, it was an honor for me to be on that record and get asked to be on that record,
Yeah.
even though I have individual records with like Mr. Man, um, Lee. I have individual records with them throughout the years, but not Bush Babies. So that
Yeah.
was important for me. My first shows I went to were Bush Baby shows. First time I went
Wow.
to Lyric was a Bush Baby show, right?
Wow.
Who saw Cellar Dwellers that night. I saw Pitch Black that night. I saw Screwballs that night, right? I saw Busted Melons that night. Shout out Aunt Marshall and Danny Castro of Lyricist Lounge. Um, so fast forward, we are Flatbush, Popeye. That's the Vanderveer side of Flatbush, right? Who coming up on the street, what makes that so legendary? I grew up as a Decepticon, right? If you do that research,
Yeah.
VIP, which is a Vanderveer thing, we didn't get along. So there was a time where we could not have worked together, right?
Right.
So us to go full circle and have community work bring us together and
Wow.
evolve into the music, it's only the natural progression. Mars Money heard about me in the hood. I heard about him. I even went looking for him because they keep telling about Knoxman and Mars and Knoxman. So I'm like, let me walk over to Linux and see who over there, what's happening. So I
Yeah.
didn't. Man, shout out Young Amsterdam, tied it together, and then for him to finally and us finally get work together, it just was so organic, right? Even the landmarks, the pizza shop I'm sitting in front of in the video, I go to at some point every week. I was there on my way home yesterday from work, right? It's right
Wow.
there. The high school, Erasmus Hall, that we were in front of, that's iconic for Flatbush.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand and Stallone went there, right?
Wow.
Or it's a Flatbush was shot over there. the train station Lee was in front of. I just came out of when I text you that I'm around the corner. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the neighborhood.
I could I ran home during the shoot to get something and ran back. Like that's how close it was, right?
Wow.
So all of that was so relevant to why I had to get on that record. When I was offered, it was a no-brainer. Then fast forward, the remix is out. The remix got Chubb Rock and Rampage on it.
That's
That's great.
crazy.
So you have to go check that out. So yeah, the Bush Babies featuring Mars Money and Mike Hands, and then the Bush remix featuring Rampage and Chubb Rock, Crazy,
So
Salute.
the Rampage Chubb Rock remix is out right now.
Right now, video and song is out right now.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I'm like, man. Okay, that's what I'm doing as soon as I
animated.
get off.
Temper 3000 did the video and production, and 2 K did the production on the first one.
Wow. Wow. That background on Flatbush is legendary. You cover it in your verse. You know, you do a great job of giving props to the neighborhood and all the legends that came out of there. But it's really dope to listen to you talk about it and break down the video.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
home. It's always a blessing to be able to. And I'll be honest with you, on a human level, part of me, on a human level, I don't love Brooklyn the way I used to because I don't love what it's become. Right.
Yeah. I hear
So
this conversation a lot, right? The old New York versus the new New
so
York.
so Mars opened his verse. I'm from the old Bush, not this new shit. You see what I'm saying?
Good.
And Sick, I appreciate you, King. But yeah, that's that was important for me to get out there because I don't ever want people to think my absence of being outside on this consistent basis has to anything to do with the years and the work that I put in and the tattoo of this place that I have on my forearm. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's always with me, but it's just what it's become. It's a little strange fruit to me. So I
Yeah.
get out the way. So being able to build, and it was so nostalgic because those places that we chose were places that were here in our childhood and our journey coming up. So it's so important to nail those.
Yeah. Is you know, this conversation of old New York, new New York, what impact do you think that's having on hip hop culture?
I don't know because hip hop is not the good part about it is hip hop is not limited to socioeconomics or socio political spaces because
Right.
everything comes with something to talk about, right?
Okay.
Everything comes with something to talk about, and it's just a new lens to speak about it through. Um, and honestly, nothing is all comfortable, right? Remember, hip hop is born of discomfort. It's born
Yeah.
of rising. It's born of creating a platform and a voice for the marginalized and the underserved. So
Yeah.
that will always exist in the world that we live in, where they're trying to eliminate the middle class totally. There is always a
Uh,
space for us to have this conversation, right? It's just a matter of what you're of, right?
yeah.
And what it takes for me to be on the type of time that's conducive is going to force me not to grow as an individual. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's that have to, it's just like advocacy. You can do advocacy to a certain point, then it's time for you to train the advocates that come behind you. And it comes with that so that you can then go create the policies and work at the table and be a voice at the table while you have another team on the front line. I feel like I've done my work on the front line, so now it's time for me to try to control the back line.
That's good. That's powerful. The reason why I ask specifically when we're talking about Flatbush is Flatbush has something kind of unique that it had like a Jamaican West Indie influence where you get like the Busta Rhymes, the Rampage, the Chip Foos that were so important to hip hop. Jamaica specifically is so important to hip hop. And that's something that I always, whenever the topic comes up, I want to make sure to give props to Jamaica and the impact that, you know, Grandmaster Flash and that style of music and the outside parties and the speakers had ultimately on hip hop as a culture, and then specifically that neighborhood and some of these people that came out, the impact of it, you know, not Flatbush, but Biggie, right, and his mom. I mean, that Jamaican and West Indian influence is a very powerful um, influencer in hip hop. And I
Well,
wonder in the new York, is that, you know, like, is that one of the things that's
we're gonna have
even?
Caribbean background as a whole, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because years, I'll be honest, in Flatbush, all of my Haitian brothers and sisters were Jamaican, as far as I knew, and as far as they would tell you, until the
That's
food.
good.
Right after the score came out, then all of a sudden, all my friends were Haitian. I didn't know you were Haitian the whole time. So I'm right. Then I heard talking.
When Wycliffe came out, everybody was like,
Wait a
yo,
minute, tell me, right? So
all the girls were Lauryn Hill and all the guys were
but coming to find out, everybody in my diaspora friends were Caribbean descent,
That's it. That's
and that's
good.
including Dominican Republic. That's
That's right.
including, Afro Latina and those
Right.
spaces, right? In that like
Right.
spaces.
Right.
So when you really understand the vast contribution and nature of the Caribbean space,
Right.
you start realizing, like, wait a minute, even all the way to the Afrocentric, just the base of the drum inclusion and how heavy hip hop relies on the drum.
Yeah.
All of this comes from Caribbean and African descent. You see what I'm saying? And filtered in here. Remember, if you want to look at it and you don't want to take the truth, let's just eliminate the truth layer of the Native American being here, right? Let's get that out of here. But
Yeah.
the colonized version that we've been given, right, of this
Right.
Americas, there's no culture there. This is all pillaged culture. You see
Yeah.
what I'm like? Really
Yeah.
look at it. It's all imported culture.
That's
So
true.
when you look at it, you can't say it's American influence, because if that's the case, you are already talking multicultural,
That's right.
right? So when you really get down to it, being in Flatbush, which is now legally labeled Little Caribbean, as someone who's not Caribbean at all, but
Interesting.
has Caribbean adjacent ties, or as anybody would tell you, well, you from Flatbush, so you're honorary. And it's just
Right.
like, as many Caribbean mothers and grandmothers had their hands on me as my own. Because when you go to I come from the area, when you go to your friend's house,
Yeah.
you're going to mind them, right? So it was
Absolutely.
funny. Just last week, I'm in Atlanta. I go to see a friend of mine, his mother, their Guyanese family. When she
Interesting.
when she came, I walked in and there's my baby. She hugs me. And it was like, my mom is gone. So just having a motherly hug that
Wow.
intense was everything, right?
Yeah.
But some point during the time, she's like, you remember when I used to cut your ass? I'm like, yeah, used to whip my ass like my mama did. It is, you're right. So I had all of her influence, and I had all of her rules, and I had all of her impact, because I was always in her home. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just as much um, raised by Caribbean
Yeah.
mothers and fathers under their rule and their guides. Because when you're with your friend, you better, or you can't hang with them no more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I have to admit, like, I'm as reggae food as they come now.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
that's good. I
and
saw the reggae food comment. Shout out to the homie with that. And
you
yeah,
know, and that's a blessing, right?
and to close the loop on the Caribbean and Puerto Ricans, obviously, right?
Mm,
You know, the impact that they've had. But that's a that's a really good way of putting it. It's Caribbean, the impact of specifically in New York, right? In New York City, that Caribbean impact in the birthplace of hip hop in New York City. That's a very special neighborhood, and that's really, really dope.
as you go macro, then you got New York, then you bring it into Brooklyn
Yeah,
with sex, Noah Burrows, but you bring it into Brooklyn, and then
yeah.
you really you funnel it down to Flatbush.
Wow, wow. That's dope. That's dope. Uh, you dropped an album not too long ago,
Mm-hmm.
which is the golden era,
Oh man,
right? Timeless.
yeah,
Um, the incredible album.
thank you.
And one of the things that's really dope about the album, in addition to you and your skills, and is the people on the album with you, right? You went and got like a who's who from hip hop. Um, Talk to us a bit about that album, the idea you had going into it. I think that's probably your last full length
Yeah,
project, right?
yeah.
You've done singles, you've done multiple singles, lots of featurings, lots of
Mm-hmm.
performances. But as far as like the last full length album, right? Is that joint, and it's got like like legends, you know, yourself plus a bunch of legends. What was
Hmm.
the idea, you know, in going into the album? Did you come in with the idea of I'm gonna make an album, you know, paying kind of homage to the golden era sound, and you know, go and find, you know, my peers that are like this, or did it start to come together and then, you know, you said this is like a golden era, timeless, you know what I mean? How did that work out?
You're the first person that actually, even when I was promoting the album, that asked me that. So, at least that intently. So thank you for that intention. Golden era timeless speaks to me, my sound, and my non willingness to compromise my sound for success.
Good.
Either I'm gonna win as I am, or I'm gonna lose as I am, or I won't be okay with the win. Right? That's like me running a race and then cross the finish line in a Buick. I can't
Right?
say I got the foot win. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
before I get into it, it's kind of how I feel about the temperature of the world. I've lived through racism my whole life. I've lived through oppression and discrimination my whole life.
Yeah.
I intend to win on the same board that I was losing on. Then we can let me be a part of working on the change after that. But do not change it and make it easier for me by the time I can finally get here after running this race as long as I have, right?
Interesting.
So, golden era, timeless. Shout out Lundercover. DJ Lundercover did all the cuts, scratches, mixing, and the production on that project from Paris. Golden era was my sound. Timeless, I believed it was. It came in a time when the trap was really, really, really taking over the soundscape.
Yeah.
The album was supposed to drop in 2020. March 26, 2020 was the original release date, right?
Wow.
Record, my mom passed since I had started it. So I started working on that album in 2016. My mom passed in 17.
Wow.
So the
Heart to
way
the love.
records, I work until I stack a collection of material, and then we listen to it and boil it down, right? So the golden era timeless concept is that I believe that it's a sound that will never leave.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people will always appreciate the raw, authentic core of what hip hop was based on. That doesn't mean dated. It
Yeah.
means drum driven, boom bap, lyric oriented hip hop. Concept oriented hip hop, right?
Good.
Don't just say anything. Have something to say if you choose to say something. And that was, I appreciate that in the comment. But
Yeah.
that's what it was about. So I wanted to express that there's value in that core sound, and that it is timeless and it can be modern and still what that is. Bark, I appreciate you, King. Um Going into the album, after that, once I lock in, then it just got to make sense, right? So the
Yeah.
artwork had to make sense. So there was back in the days, and this could be the Mandela effect. I don't think so. I don't think I was just being that creative on my own. There was a time travel piece that I think the source of Double XL did, where LL was in the Kango with the big rope chain, and it was a double page spread, and he jumped through like this light portal and came out in all leather, like the mama said, knock you out era.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how can I not bite, but come up with something that transcends my generations, right? That,
Yeah.
well, the eras that I've been in it, right? Since I started rapping in '89, without biting off that idea.
Yeah.
So working with Lundercover, we came up with, he went online and found images from different points with different chains I was wearing. So if you look on the cover,
That's why you got the chains. That's why you got like the mic, and then you
yeah,
got the other joint with the cross. And,
each
right.
one was a chain from a different era that I had coming up,
Oh,
right? So the mic piece, which was so crazy, there's a picture of me on stage with Slick Rick and Dana Dane. I lost it at the Supper Club. The pendant came off and disappeared in the crowd. Never saw it again.
Look, Rick got it, bro. He got the crazy
He
collection of
probably,
chains. Somehow, all the chains in the world wound up with
they
Slick
all,
Rick.
uh,
Somehow they wound up with Slick Rick.
that's hilarious, but it really might be. So I reached out to my brother Christian, Confused Art in Germany, who took such good care of me when I was in Hamburg. I reached out to him. He's an incredible artist and illustrator. So he did the illustration of me on the cover, right? And there's another cat, Slob, down in South France, that took that and then did the layout for the overall the overall packaging. We also wanted the disc to look like a vinyl, so we did that with the CD. And there's also an illustration of the producers, right, that we also did, right? And we did a huge campaign, stickers and jackets and book bags and lighters, and we did everything to go with this album because the artwork was so rich, and it really, really spoke to who it was, right? And when I first did the Def Squad situation, that picture of me comes from a picture that was taken in the hallway at Def Squad, and they pulled that piece out. So there's so many layers to it, you know?
Yeah.
Because remember, I started working in 16. I didn't get to Def Squad till 2018. The record didn't drop till 2022 because it got pushed back because of the pandemic.
Right. It was ready in 2020. You said like in March.
The release party was booked in, but
right.
then
It was like a week later, and then the
the
pandemic
world,
hits.
right? So I lost my date. And I'm like, I'm not going to just I didn't know what it meant. Remember, we didn't know what it meant. There was no.
It gradually happened.
Remember, there was
6
no.
months, 2 weeks in, we thought it'd be done in 2 more weeks.
But not only that, there was no. We didn't know what the industry was going to shift to, right? We didn't know that D Nice was going to start club, right? This, that, and the third.
Right.
We didn't.
No verses. Nobody knew about verses and all
know
that.
how
Right.
that was going to exist. So I'm like, I'm not throwing this album into the ether. You know what I mean? So I'll just hold it.
Smart. Yeah.
So meantime, I have a transplant later that year. Then I'm down for a year in recovery, right? The whole 2020 into 21. And then the next opportunity I had was that very following March in 22. So I sat on that album for 2 years, mixed, mastered, packaged, and then dropped it in 22. But it gave me time to create all the merch in the world.
Wow. That's fast. Looking back, now in 2026,
Mm-hmm.
right? As you're going into like, the next project that we talked about, Pendulum, looking back on everything you lived,
Mm-hmm.
Parabellum, my apologies.
No
Looking
worries.
back, what a journey, right? Because the Parabellum journey is kind of connected to that in a strange way because the momentum
That's right.
that we all lost, right? Everybody's life shifted somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and you went through extra stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in addition to what the world went through, what an amazing moment in time for you to be where you're at today, about to go into the whole Parabellum era,
Yeah.
right, that you shared with us.
Thank you.
Really, really powerful and beautiful. I wanted to just touch on, because I think it's important, to at least mention that you hinted at the Death Squad situation, that you've been
Mm-hmm.
connected with many, many big artists, but two kind of clicks stand out, right? The Boot Camp Clik and the Def Squad as two major hip hop, super groups that you're associated with. As we start to wrap up, anything that you want to share about your connection to those groups, how that happened, and does that still continue today, or are you now on a different trajectory?
So boot camp is family, right? That's always family. My connection to Steel, to Rock. I'm on the road with Rock all the time to this day. Steel is like, it's funny. I used to look at Steel, Rock, and Sean, rest in peace, Sean Price, as like Yoda, Han Solo, and
Yeah.
Yoda, Han Solo, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Kind of like with the way that they approach their input and the way that they ride. Like Han Solo, like Rock would be the Han Solo who just is in the trenches with me all the time. Like we're always working, brainstorming, or moving around. Sean was cryptic, so he had this Yoda thing with him, right? He would always say something that, here, I'm gonna leave this on the table, take that and do with it what you will, kind of thing. And the Obi-Wan is because Steel always philosophizing. He's some type of way, you know what I mean, with look at the world this way, or have you ever thought of it that way, or something to take with you? You know what I'm saying? And I want to say the same thing. My dog tag came from, Buckshot Buck said, if anybody asks you with us from now on, that was years ago. So there was that. I love building with Top Dog. That's my bro. Same thing with Louis. Strang's always been love. Evil, always wise words. Walt, wise words. So yeah, that's always going to be there. So I say I trained in the boot camp because those are the ones that had the most critiques and the most input on those type of things.
Yeah.
They also were the first ones to take me on the road, like committedly, right? Still said if you can get there, you can work. So
So,
I was just making sure that I could get to wherever the shows were, and if I was there, I opened. That's how they did that, right? And then Sean took me on the
wow.
rap tour with him, and then me and Rock went out a couple of times, pardon me, and then from there we haven't stopped. So
That's dope.
that's what that is. As far as Def Squad goes, shout out K Sermon, Eric's sister. Shout out my cousin DJ Diamond, the artist, aka DJ Diamond J from the Executioners. All of which that kind of tag team Eric from two different sides to bring me to his attention. That got the meeting for me and lined that up and gave me the opportunity to work closely with them and feed off of Ty Fife and feed off of Rock Wilder and feed off of Eric and just gather all the jewels and things I could. Did it go the way that I hoped it did? No, but life's right. Um,
Absolutely.
what's the flavor, you? UG from the Cellar Dwellers just popped in.
Shout out
What?
UG.
What? You never know how the trajectory is going to go,
Yeah.
right? And do I fault anybody for that? No. I think if I was 25, it might have went different because then I'd want to just be hanging in the studio around everybody all the time, and maybe that would have kept me in the forefront of the conversation.
Yeah.
But the reality is I wasn't, and it's 2.5 hours away, and I have a full functioning studio in New York. I mean in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So me just coming to be here if we're not working didn't make sense to me. So I had
Yeah.
to start operating a little bit more remotely. And then my transplant happened, and then so on and so forth. So life has a way of realigning you the way it needs to be. So
Yeah.
the affiliation is always there because, as they say, I can never peel it apart. Google won't let that happen.
That's right.
But as far as new trajectory goes, I'm very much self-contained a little bit more, and I prefer to operate more in a family
Yeah.
scenario. Um, I work really closely with Dollar Band Music and the Bush Babies right now because that's also a family-oriented situation of
Yeah.
people who have 20, 30 years background with me. Not based on music. Music just happens to be the blessing commonality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there will always be records from boot camp.
Yeah.
Always. There will always be you a fool for that. There will always be um contributions and access. I got a whole hard drive worth of Def Squad records that haven't seen the light of day yet.
That's crazy.
One of which is called Bar Fight with Rockness, Afro, Scam, who's also in the comments, and myself. Incredible, right? These are all there. But when I decide to tackle those records, I want to make sure that I have the right conversations to make sure that I can get the right support and slingshot for those records that I need. I don't want to just put them in the world.
Right.
But in the meantime, there's individuals like Salute MOP, UG, who just did a killer for me. Rock, of course. My Bush Babies family, of course. This new album has Razkaz. There's so many people.
That's
Tuck,
dope.
Bam Sadiq. Um, I always keep one or two in the cut that nobody sees coming. And I'm grateful for that. So I'm not all the way finished. I got one more kind of sleeper. You know what I mean? That I'm looking
Yeah.
out. But yeah, I'm grateful to still be able to compete and deliver it in a way that I'm proud of.
That's dope. That's dope, my bro. I feel, that for me this interview was really special because I spent like the first half of it talking about really your career and the insights you have in mental health and
Mhm.
the connection with hip hop. And that's really unique. And I really appreciate that. And I think a lot of people will. I want to make sure that people have the information, right? They have the information on if they need mental health help, if they want to learn more about the connection. They love hip hop. They might have anxiety or psychological, issues that they want help with or support and don't know where to start. Maybe if you could direct them where to kind of
Ab-
go, right?
ab-
And then also for yourself and your social media and where you're most active and where to find your music, right? Because a lot of people just know you about from that
mhm.
lens, right? Those two pieces of information.
Okay, so first off, I want you to look in the comments and see another little spoiler that UG dropped down in the comments. Um, come this early fall, um, it's about to be a thing. So look for the announcement on that. It's another tour run that's being cooked up right now. So that's going to be amazing. Um, so as far as mental health goes, BalticStreet.org. You can go. We have housing, education, employment. We have advocacy. We have a community center in Sunset that's open to everyone. We have a adult home initiative program. We have INSET, which is an intense crisis response team. So whatever it is you need, you can go to the contacts page, leave a message, somebody will reach straight back out to you. We're at 9 Bond Street if you just want to walk in. There's a couple of people that were in the comments that have come
Yeah,
and found, of course, never disclosed, but I'm grateful to see them here checking in on me outside of work,
yeah,
which is because as you can tell, they can only do that because I make real personal connections, not just, you know, service based, right?
yeah,
Like I have people that check in on me and we stay communicating even though they don't deal with the agency on that level anymore, but they deal with me still because of the connection. So I'm grateful because I get mutuality out of that in my own journey, right? So balticstreet.org, you can always check in. If you want to personalize even more, just ask for Chris. That's my work name, right? Christopher. So you can just check for me and that's okay. If you say Mike Hands, they know me there too. Um, as far as me on social media, it's Mike Hands everywhere. If you want to go to the website, it's mikehands.nyc because I'm so New York. I appreciate you, UG. If you go to Bandcamp, it's Mike Hands. I always prefer if you want to go to
yeah,
street, cool, but I prefer you to go to the Bandcamp or the website. I'm literally phasing almost everything out of streaming. There
yeah,
will only be things there as calling cards because I need accountability, right?
yeah.
You have to be in the FYE. You have to be in the Coconuts. You have to be in the Virgin Megastore, so to speak.
Right.
Just to, right. But the newer stuff will be direct to consumer and on my website or on my Bandcamp.
That's really dope. And things like the 48-hour COVID and
Hold on.
things that are lesser known is on the
And
Bandcamp.
so what happens is, I attach the COVID 48 to purchases. So when you buy anything, you get that mixtape free. And there's a new mixtape called History Lessons that's hidden on Bandcamp too. That's going to be attached to Parabellum as a free download. So that's there as well.
That's like you would secret menu, the
Yeah.
secret menu at Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? You got the secret menu
Mm-hmm.
that's
You get
dope.
that. You get that on the strength, and the same as there's a best of Mike Hands and Rockness that's getting put together and mixed and mastered as well. So that's going to be exciting when it's time to come. There's the Flatbush to the World project with We Are Flatbush, Bush Babies, myself, Mars Money, rest in peace, Q the Kid, Screechy Don. Um, there's so many. Like that's a really crazy Flatbush oriented project with just a lot of great MCs on it. So look for that. And yeah, man. Um, everywhere. You can hit me on Twitter, but nobody talks to me there, so I don't be there. Where my most
No controversial ideas, just bars, and it's like
yeah, they don't.
wrong place for that.
But meantime, I have like 2,000 some odd, almost 3,000 followers. But I feel like I'm just talking to myself, so I don't go in there. But IG, Facebook, you could definitely check me. I'm on Twitter too, but that has I mean I'm on TikTok too. I don't think I TikTok right, so I don't do that. But I'm there. So yeah, check on me. I'm around.
Thank you, my bro. Thank you so much for that. smiling and laughing because I got the same struggle with social media, and specifically those platforms, killing it on IG, killing it. TikTok, I haven't figured it out. At Twitter X, it's like I'm just on there because I need to be, but I'm not sure what's going on with it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
So
want you to not find me, but
yeah, exactly.
say something. But
Yeah. So
website, I think the website links you to everything anyway, right? So MICHANDZ.NYC. There's so much like on the back end that I'm updating, waiting to launch with the launch of the next project. So just lock in, join the mailing list, get in tune. There's a fan club on Bandcamp if you choose to subscribe. A lot of exclusive merch comes through there. Concert tickets when I'm within the region. Yeah, I'm open.
yeah, the militia. That's
Yes.
that's probably a great place to maybe like wrap it up. If you could tell us on Bandcamp, you join militia, how much does it cost, what they get, and then I'm gonna let you go because I could talk to
No,
you for hours. You know what
no
I'm
worries.
saying?
I appreciate that. That means a lot. But no, the militia varies, and you can almost choose your subscription and your subscription level, and then at that point, you're direct to me. You're direct to exclusive content as we put up behind the scenes content. A lot of the times, I have another project I'm working on called Through My Eyes, which is I have access right in different places, so I shoot footage from angles the average person doesn't get to see. So
Wow.
a lot of that's going to filter through there. I have a whole behind the scenes of the whole leg of the Hell on My Back. I mean the Heaven on Earth tour with Mobb Deep and Smith and Wesson that we were on. I have all of that unreleased that I'm thinking about pushing through the militia as well. So yeah, get involved. It's a lot of sneak peeks in the spaces that you might not normally get to.
That's dope. Mike Hands, what an honor to build with you.
Oh man,
And
thank,
incredibly talented. Thank
thank
you
you.
for sharing the upcoming album, Parabellum,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the insights you gave us on mental health and also, these kind of parallel lanes between hip hop and mental health. I think is fascinating. And you're on the cutting edge. I think this is something that'll continue to expand. So you're really like at the forefront of something important.
I appreciate that. Also, check on Special Ed, Doctor Special Ed. He has
Dr. Special Ed now, bro.
he has a lot of good work that he's doing in the space now. On Fridays, he's going to be doing a writing and lyrics workshop at the St. John's Rec in Brooklyn. So yeah, there's a lot of good things attached to the same conversation you can check in on.
That's dope. Mike Hands, what an honor. Thank you.
Salute.
Salute, my brother.